done it before.
She can.
She can. She'll do it again.
Of course she can.
How will she do it? There must be a way.
Senua, you have to try. Get to the gate.
She'll never make it.
She can see it. The bridge. She can't cross the bridge. It's broken.
She has to fix it.
It's too dangerous.
She's done it before. You have to fight her.
Be powerful.
The final battle.
Get his soul back. It's the final task.
Yes, it is.
This isn't just a broken bridge, is it? Mother, you showed me how to see further. To see the hidden wonders in our world and explore new paths into the unknown. To lead so that others may follow, or to warn so that they may avoid. That is our gift and our duty. I'm not going to look away in fear anymore.
She can do it.
She can do it.
She can still see the secrets of the gods. She's distinctively so special. She must see. She has the sight. She can see their secrets.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. They call this Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. First, there will be a terrible winter, 3 years long. Then, mankind will turn on itself. Brothers will fight each other to the death, and people will forget what they owe their kindred. Times will be hard. Crimes will be great. It will be an age of axes and swords. The wind will blow through abandoned halls. Wolves will walk where children played. The world will fall into ruin.
Oi, Edson, tudo bem? Seja bem-vindo, mano. Tô bem, Edson. Tô tentando aqui entender esse quebra-cabeça aqui, ó. Tá bem difícil ele, assim. Eu sei que tem alguma coisa ali, mas eu não consigo ver o que que é, cara. Não forma, entendeu? O que que precisa fazer, meu pai? Isso daí é pra deixar a gente preso no local por horas e horas e horas. Deixa eu ver aqui. Sei que eu consegui formar metade da ponte. Cara, eu tô sofrendo aí pra montar o quebra-cabeça. Eu não tô conseguindo achar o ponto dele, o ponto certo do quebra-cabeça, entendeu? O quebra-cabeça vai sumindo. Acho que eu tenho que voltar lá pra baixo e ver por outro ângulo lá de baixo. Vamos tentar aqui, peraí. Eu vou tentar aqui descer. Eu vou ver por outro ângulo, peraí. Que é tipo isso mesmo, ó. A gente desce e a gente vê por outro ângulo. Ó. Até que aqui tá refletido. Eu vou tentar vir aqui pra baixo. Por aqui. E dar uma observada, ver se fecha. Tá indo, né? Tô descendo aqui, tô indo na manhã. Ai. Hoje eu acho que vai ser uma live mais tranquila, sabe? Também não vai ser muito longa. Se bem que aqui não dá pra ver, né? Aqui eu saí, eu acho que eu subi essa escada e eu parei lá em cima. Vamos lá. Acho que não é voltando, não. Nossa, essa minha semana foi bem cansativa, olha. Tô me sentindo até meio cansado aqui, mas foi uma semana boa. Eu e a Aline, a gente tá treinando Muay Thai, né? Eu tô treinando outras artes marciais também. Foi uma semana bem boa mesmo. Será que se eu entrar aqui... eu acho que era pra cá mesmo, eu marquei. Tem uma subidinha aqui.
The Northmen say the gods will fight their last battle at Ragnarok.
Cada local tem uma historinha, né? Cada local tem um... Aqui ele tá falando do Ragnarok.
With the severed head of Mimir, which gives him good counsel. The land of the giants will thunder with the sound of their army on the move. The gods will assemble. The dwarves will leave their stones. The frost giants will come from the east. The Midgard serpent will turn up the waves.
Ah, valeu, mano.
Eagles will scream and tear at the corpses with their yellow beaks. The ship of the dead will set sail.
Nossa, a gente fica lá preso, a gente se lasca, né? Muito bem, ó. Pronto, ó, conseguimos fechar mais um. Consegui fechar mais um lado. Ver se tem como ir lá pro outro lado, né? Que nada, Edson. Edson, sobe uma coisa aqui. Muito bem, muito bem. Será que tem outro lado? Eu tô na dúvida agora aqui, Edson. Meu Deus! Gente, eu passei uma semana sem jogar mesmo. Aí eu acabo esquecendo como é que são as coisas. Esquiva, por exemplo. Né, quase eu rodo, cara. Quase eu rodo.
How will she do it? What will she do?
How's she going to find his actual soul? Where does Hela keep her souls? How will she get it? What will Hela want in return? She must bargain.
No,
She'll kill her.
she cannot.
Só respondendo um WhatsApp aqui de um colega, gente.
What does Hela want?
No one can bargain with her.
Não, o negócio que eu não sei aqui, ó. Eu acabei esquecendo e quando a gente não tá...
No.
Eu já vim aqui, peraí, já vim aqui, né?
It's worthless.
Acho que
But it's all she has to give.
tinha uma portinha em algum canto, não tinha?
What more could she give? A cursed soul.
Ah, tava aqui, tava fechada, muito bem.
No matter what she does. She can fight her. She can fight her at Ragnarok.
She's a warrior.
Cara, e eu fico imaginando o combate que vai ser com a Hela, né?
Hela will want to fight her.
Nossa, eu já tava... Eu tinha esquecido dos combates aqui do jogo.
Her soul is valuable.
Hela will want us.
Muito bem, muito bem.
She can take Dilion's soul and lay him to rest.
She can get his soul back.
She's so close to saving Dilion.
She can do it. She just has to be prepared to fight for it.
Few have come this far.
She can finally put him to rest.
What if she falls at the final hurdle?
She won't.
Then Hela will take both their
There's an
souls.
illusion. She's found a way. There's a way.
She can see it.
She must align herself. She can do it.
There's the door.
She aligns herself.
Ô, cara, esse daqui lembrou o Looney Tunes, sabe? O Looney Tunes tem essa perspectiva de você desenhar uma porta na parede. Um passa e o outro não passa, né? No caso, o Papaléguas passa e a gente não passa, né? O coiote não passa. Eita ferro, tá.
The Northmen say that at Ragnarok, the gods will face a ship full of their foes, which Loki has steered to Asgard. It carries the fire giants, the wolf that will eat the sun, and all kinds of dark creatures. Surt will join them with his sword of fire. The cliffs will crash.
Enquanto a gente vai vasculhando, eu gosto, sabe? É uma história bem rica, assim. Eles fizeram o jogo bem direitinho. E o bracinho dela, cara, o bracinho dela já tá todo escuro. Coitada da bichinha. Bora, vamos lá, Senua. Ô Edson, você viu? Viu que lá em São Paulo rolou uma gangue de motoqueiros neonazistas chegou lá, né, e tocou assim meio que o terror num dos bares lá queer de São Paulo, e hoje eu tava dando rolê na Augusta, cara. Era uma gangue neonazista mesmo, brother. Será que tem que subir mais um andar? Mas eu bloqueei.
Stop them!
É dois.
It's nearly over. Finish it. No, she isn't.
Focus is coming back.
You're stronger than him.
Nossa, eu tô bom de counter, cara. Isso daí foi boa, hein? Essa foi muito boa. Eu vou até salvar esse clipezinho aqui. Uns 5 minutos aí, que depois eu vou botar, fazer um cortezinho e botar no Twitter. Você viu aí, ó, Edson? Cara, tá, mas eu entrei aqui. Ah, tem um negócio ali, beleza, beleza. Pronto, completamos a ponte. Boa, vou ver o que tem lá em cima ali só por curiosidade. Pois é, Edson, eles estavam aí. Eu vi isso agora há pouco na minha bolha do Twitter, a galera tava comentando. Aqui tem umas coisas pra pegar aqui. Histórias.
The Northmen said each god will do battle at Ragnarok. Odin will fight the monstrous wolf and be killed, but his son will avenge him and plunge his sword into the heart of the beast. Freyr will face Surt, but he had given his sword away for love, and without it, he cannot defend himself against the flames. Thor will smite the Midgard serpent to no avail.
Eu tô apertando os botões de esquiva do Bloodborne, ó. Por isso que eu tô errando, eu tô jogando Bloodborne, só que em off, tá? Não tô gravando nem nada não, tô jogando.
The heavens and earth and all the world will be burned. All the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and the people everywhere. Senua, prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
Deus da guerra, né, Edson? Deus da guerra que bebeu aqui nesse jogo diretamente, assim, não tem nem o que dizer que não foi. Vou até caminhar devagar, que é pra gente ter tempo. Ai, meu Deus. Ai, meu Deus. Ai, ai. Viquingue, a música do caralho, né? Oh meu Deus, tem gente lá atrás de mim. Vou morrer, gente, eu vou morrer. Gente, tá difícil, mesmo com focos aqui, tá difícil pra caramba. Nossa, mesmo com focos, foi muito difícil. Ô Edson, eu fui sem querer, tá? Mas eu entendi a mensagem aí. Gente, cara, os caras não são latinos não, cara. Eles vieram da Alemanha, essa gangue aí, cara. Eles são de um motoclube. Acho que é chamado... Ah, eu não sei o nome não. Eles são de um motoclube, pô. Gente, e eu ia andar devagar, que era pra gente conversar enquanto eu andava na ponte. Quase que eu morro. Gente, quase que eu morro mesmo, olha, foi difícil pra caramba. Pois é, Edson. Desculpa aí também ter demorado pra responder, né? Porque foi difícil.
What happens when she dies? What happens to us? What happens to us? We die too. Do we die too? We die too. I don't want to die.
We'll all die someday.
I don't want to die.
And when everyone's gone,
Sério, pô, os caras são da Alemanha.
We don't want to die.
Tô dando rolê aqui na América Latina.
Stop her. Why is she going? Stop her. Stop her. Why won't she stop? To die, she won't stop. Stop. I don't want to die.
I'm sorry. I didn't ask you to be a part of me.
I don't want to die. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
Please stop.
Please stop.
You'll never come back if you go there.
There is nothing to go back to.
We only have each other now. Don't abandon me.
Everyone suffers. They were right about me.
Listen to me, not them. They are afraid. Like children scared of the dark.
So was I.
They made up monsters.
Eita, tem duas agora.
Doesn't make them real.
Espero que não seja aquela batalha da Dark SENUA'S. Ela já é bem dark, né? Boa, boa.
SENUA alone. For there lies your weakness, and the darkness will find it.
Eita!
It's not like the old stories, is it?
Porra, pode crer, verdade.
Warrior facing evil in search of victory and honor. clear dividing
Linhas
lines.
divisórias claras, é verdade.
Oh, this place is not quite like that. It's as if it knows that true torment lies within. Memories you cannot defeat, cannot escape. This is her hell.
Vamos ao SENUA'S, exatamente. Cada vez mais se aprofundando, né? Na escuridão. Eu curto.
Do you see it, Senua? Do you see the darkness? Faces of fear and suffering. You can see it.
I remember it clearly now.
She has nothing to fear anymore. The gods have saved your mother. Through my hand.
You killed her.
It is the will of the gods.
Fuck the gods! You did this to her! Why?
This is what happens when you listen to the voices of the underworld. They crawl into your soul and rot you from the inside. Defy the gods like your mother, and the darkness will come for you too. You understand, Senua?
I do understand. You cursed me with your own madness. I was just a child. You created this darkness! You created this darkness so you could hide behind it!
Only suffering brings salvation. It is the way of the gods.
It was all a lie.
Acho que a gente vai entrar num labirinto de perspectivas agora, gente.
You are a lie! She didn't defy the gods. She defied you. And so you killed her.
You didn't pray to the gods. You prayed to your mother. Your mother, who was too weak to fight the darkness and abandoned you.
You tortured her. You killed her. You are the darkness.
Those rituals, the years of isolation, the pain that still haunts you. It was the only way to fight the curse within you.
Que desgraçado, né, cara? Que desgraçado.
You're a liar!
No, Senua. The darkness is here. You cannot wish it away. And it will watch as you draw the last dying gasp.
I won't let you kill me.
Nossa, muita gente, é muita gente.
I can see through your darkness. You're a liar and a murderer. And if you really are Hela,
Do caralho, mano, do caralho, é isso mesmo. Quebra ele na porrada, quebra ele na porrada. Outro round, eu acho que vai ter outro round.
The same mistake that killed him in the first place.
Tudo bem, Edson, tudo bem. Pode fingir, meu amigo.
You said that it is a lie. The plague of darkness, the butchering of Dilion by the Northmen. You saw it yourself.
Não.
You told everyone I was cursed. They believed you. I believed you.
Tell me, Senua, where is Dilion's soul if the darkness is a lie? How you saved him?
He's here. I know he's here.
Exatamente, vai ser nua, vai ser nua.
Dilion, I know you're here. Hold on. I'll find you.
Esse daí é novo. Esse daí eu não conhecia, não. São todos os inimigos juntos, gente. São todos eles juntos, cara.
Dilion! Where is he? You're trying to trick me again with your lies. I know he's here. You took him from me.
Nossa,
You
cara.
have him.
Dilion is gone. Dilion is dead. Let him go. I'm warning you.
For what? What can you do to me that you haven't already? Fight me. Come on.
Betrayed your own father. You betrayed the gods in search of Dilion, in search of love. Look where that's got you. Let go of your battle. Let go of redemption. Let go of Dilion.
Eu errei o golpe.
Don't let your darkness belong to anyone else.
Watch out.
Eu tô jogando com headset sim. Mano.
Watch out. Watch out.
Esses do escudo que tem que acabar logo com eles. Não, 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 não. Não, 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 não. Ai, caramba. Ai, não, 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 não.
Watch out. Behind you. Behind you. Watch out.
Caramba. Ai, pegou. Nossa, a gente tá bem difícil. Let's go, Senua.
Careful. Watch out.
Ai.
Behind you. Surround. Careful. Watch out. Watch out. Let go, Senua. Careful. Behind you.
Eu esquivei.
Let go of Dilion. Let go of your battle. Careful, Senua.
Oh. Eu tinha que perder, é isso? Eu tinha que perder, gente. Nossa, cara. Eu tinha que perder, então. Não tinha como eu ganhar. Pô, eles pegam a gente nessa, olha. Né, Edson? Gente. Olha o bicho vindo.
If you're alive, and there's no darkness, then you never took him from me, did you? And I can't save Dilion. Is that what you want me to believe? After all you've done to me? And to him? You're not a lie, but you're a liar! You crawled into me to confuse me and deceive me. But I know it. I know you have him. I'll give you my life. That's what you want, isn't it? My soul. Take it. I'll be a slave for you. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok. If you release it. I've got nothing left. No fear. No hate. No quest. Nothing. No power over me.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, Senua. Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, And all you can see is the shadow that it casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until all you can see is darkness. When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of our fear. And emerge from our darkness.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child, Senua. Every autumn leaf is like a work of art. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea. Do not mourn the waves, the leaves and the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there, waiting to be seen again.
This is where my story once began. And so it has to end here. Because I cannot see further than this.
Follow us. We have another story to tell.
My friend, go with her. This now will be your story to witness.
Parece ser o fim, Edson. Goodbye. É isso mesmo. Gente. Ah, que eu não pegue copyright por essa musiquinha, hein? É os créditos. Só esperar o próximo agora, né? Era a batalha final aquela, Edson. Que jogão, hein? Que jogo bem feito, que jogo mais bonito. Né? Eu acho interessante, cara, esse tipo de narrativa, esse jogo, assim, eu gostei muito, olha. Pelo menos ela conseguiu se despedir do Dilion de alguma forma, né? Não dá nem pra avançar, é isso aí, é o que temos pra hoje. Edson, mas diga lá, se Deus da Guerra não copiou, cara, esse jogo. Ah, não, porque é a mesma estética, mas a câmera, a forma de narrativa, né, o embate, gostei. Gostei muito. Tem um monte de professores, né? Professor Charles Fangold, Elizabeth Ashman Howe. A professora Elizabeth apareceu várias vezes aí. Ah, teve gente aí que trabalhou na saúde mental, ó. É o Come, eu não sei o que é o Come. Epic Games, Nvidia, Speed 3. Era uma que é a galera que desenvolveu, né? São os programadores, com certeza. Gente pra caramba. Eu vou ver até o final, gente. Don't go. Aqui eu não sei. Acabou até a música. Vamos esperar a gente passar aí, tá? Olha aí, ó, gente. Isso é importante saber mais sobre problemas mentais, sofrimento psíquico. Procure ajuda, procure, né, canais de informação especializados, tá? O jogo é só uma representação, só formas diferentes de pensar, né, sobre essa questão da saúde mental. Gente, é isso. Terminamos o game. O que é isso?
stormy seas and lost souls.
Who is it?
She's trampled us before.
It's coming.
Sem legenda fica difícil.
They say dreams are visions of our memories, thoughts and fears, as seen by our inner eye. But what if each one of us is always dreaming, even when awake?
Oi, Edson, era o final
And we only see
mesmo.
what our inner eye creates for us. Is this what hell is? A world shaped by SENUA'S nightmares. Maybe that's why people fear seeing the world through our eyes.
Isso era o trailer, eu acho, de lançamento.
SENUA'S reality is twisted.
Eu adorei, Edson, também, com certeza, cara. Eu acho que tinha tudo a ver. É o documentário, tá? Que vem no jogo aí. Se tiver legenda, eu vou continuar assistindo. Se não tiver, eu vou parar por aqui mesmo.
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a video game about Senua, a Celtic warrior on a vision quest into Viking territory. But what sets our hero Senua apart is that she suffers from severe psychotic mental illness.
He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching.
The original idea for Hellblade was to create a classic hero's journey, a journey of suffering, but one where the fantasy world is not another planet or alternate universe, but a world that is constructed in Senua's mind. But to do so would mean putting psychotic mental illness at the center of the experience, a subject that is still considered taboo, and a challenge that was both terrifying and exciting in equal measure. In Hellblade, the starting point was a newly discovered Celtic goddess called Senua in Ashwell, Hertfordshire. When first discovered, her name was thought to be Senua, a name which I liked and kept. I wondered if Senua might have been a Celtic warrior like Boudica who stood up to the Romans. While the Romans had conquered all of Europe, there was a group of Celts up in the furthest reaches of the Roman Empire that could not be conquered, the Picts.
Os Pictos.
And so the Romans built a wall, called Hadrian's Wall, that spans across Britain from sea to sea to keep the Pictish barbarians at bay.
Que
The Picts were known
interessante.
for their war paint, painted on with woad, and their matted
Eu vi,
hair
Edson.
coated with lime. And so Senua would be a barbarian Pict in this image.
What's your name?
Senua,
I haven't seen you before.
I don't live home much.
Oh, Zeno's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait.
Orkney is off the coast of Scotland and was inhabited by the Picts, steeped in history and mystery, and so I made Orkney Senua's home and set the stage for a crisis. In the late 8th century, the first Vikings landed on the Orkney Islands. The population of the Picts crashed thereafter, replaced by the Norsemen of the 9th century. Were they wiped out? We don't know for sure, but it would seem likely given the reputation of the Vikings. The Northmen's brutality is legendary. High-ranking leaders and chieftains of the tribes they conquered were often offered as sacrifice to their gods. The most brutal of
Acho que
these
não é bem isso,
sacrifices
né?
was known as
Hoje a
the
gente tem
bloody.
outras informações, né?
I imagine Senua as a young female warrior who returns home from exile to find her partner, Dilion, brutally sacrificed to a Norse god by these hellish warriors from a faraway land. I imagine the horror of this moment and how it would have dragged her deep into mental torment. I came to learn that the Celts had a sophisticated and nuanced perspective on the nature of mental disorder. One term they used was Gelt. A Gelt is a man or woman who has been driven mad by a curse, battle trauma, or grief. The Gelt would take to a life in the woods in search of penance, punishment, and purgation. And so Senua became a Gelt, cursed by darkness, looking for redemption in the wilds. Another word the Celts used in reference to mental disorders was druth, meaning fool, or one who utters the words of God. They tell of the mad sinner who flees battle into exile and takes on a beastly nature, growing feathers on his body. The character called Druth in Hellblade is based on a little-known person called Findan, an 8th century Irish Celt who was captured and enslaved by the Vikings, but eventually escaped to Orkney where he became a monk.
I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Upon meeting Senua, it would be his stories that fuel her quest deep into their world of gods.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end.
Ah, ele que narra pra gente, tá aí.
Go black, the earth will sink into the
Achei interessante também essa forma de narrador.
fire and water will meet, flames will play against the sky.
Heavens and earth and all the world will be burned, all the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and people everywhere.
Prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
So the stage was set for a new adventure, a journey into the Norse underworld called Hell, a vision quest fueled by madness and myth, a fantasy that was created by Senua's own mind, and one that we would experience through her eyes.
This is your mission. This is your quest. There is nothing else left.
To make a game about a warrior with psychotic mental illness as its central theme was fraught with danger. Mental illness such as psychosis is still taboo and rarely acknowledged in a century of cinema, never mind the new medium of games. Where it does feature, it often conflates psychosis and psychopathy associated with a lack of empathy. It is unfortunate that these two words sound so similar that they are used interchangeably in media. I must admit that I didn't have to look very far to discover my own ignorance of the subject. So we reached out to Paul Fletcher, psychiatrist and professor of health neuroscience at University of Cambridge.
Psychosis is a descriptive term, and it refers to having a loss of contact with objective reality. So it's characterized by two main sets of symptoms. One of them is hallucinations, where somebody experiences perceptions when there is no actual objective thing out there to perceive.
Who are you?
And the other is delusions, where somebody comes to very often bizarre, unpleasant, frightening beliefs when there's no good evidence in favor of them.
There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim, and the goddess Hela holds his soul there.
We reached out to Welcome, a biomedical research charity that spends billions on research and awareness programs aimed at improving health.
Mental health hasn't always been presented in the media in a way that is particularly helpful. It can be challenging to engage people with the subject matter, and there are a lot of preconceived ideas about mental health, and particularly schizophrenia and psychosis. So we hope our support allows the team to continue to collaborate with Paul Fletcher and with those who have experience of psychosis to create a game that provides a fresh perspective on the condition and allows audiences to engage with it in a way that just wouldn't be possible in any other medium.
What started out as a brief consultation convinced me that we were only scratching the surface of an immensely deep and interesting subject that could enrich and change the very nature of the game.
That's cool. Thanks so much for coming here.
Pleasure. Thanks. It's really interesting for me. I'd love to be involved. I think it's fascinating.
Our understanding of psychosis is still very much a mystery, and ways of treating it are still primitive compared to physical illness. After all, it is easy to see the pain and suffering caused by physical diseases or physical trauma. It is not so easy to see the mental suffering and trauma of severe mental illness. But what if we could find a way to see it? Games are capable of drawing you in for hours on end, playing the role of a character who is different from you, experiencing their perspective, and actively involving you in a world that functions with a different set of rules. If we were to represent Senua's psychosis, we would have to simulate voice hearing, a common attribute. But how can we simulate something we have no first-hand experience of? Professor Charles Fernyhough, a leading expert in voice hearing from Durham University, offered his help.
Hearing voices is an experience that is usually associated with severe mental illness, and crucially we know that hearing voices is a part of ordinary life for many people who don't meet the criteria for mental illness.
Yeah. Oh, that's not him in real life.
We know voices vary according to where they appear in space. Voices can appear far away in the distance, they can appear right there in your ear, they can seem to be coming from inside your head.
Based on the information Professor Fernie Ho provided, I put together a sound brief and invited some actors to the studio. We recorded the actors using a binaural microphone, which records the 3D spatial position of sound, replicating the way sound is heard by human ears. It gives you an incredible sense that the person you are listening to is right there beside you. Rachel Waddingham from the Voice Collective came to our studio with 2 young voice hearers to speak to our team. We talked at length about their experiences and they listened to our tests, giving us feedback on how we could improve on it.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
It's very hard to represent what this experience is like, partly because it's such a personal, intense, emotional experience. It's testament to how Ninja Theory have been listening to what the researchers are saying, but also, crucially, listening to the experts by experience. What they've come up with is so compelling. It's by far the best representation I've heard of what these experiences are like.
Other common attributes of psychosis are visions and flashbacks. We met with Recovery College East, who work with and care for people recovering from severe mental disorders. A group of service users gave us their first-hand account of what they experience.
Sometimes when the vision or what we're seeing is too much, it becomes more difficult until eventually we perhaps don't see anything.
The people we spoke to, the stories they told, were fascinating, harrowing and mind-boggling. The reality of what people experienced was vivid, far exceeding what I could possibly have imagined. We went away itching to represent some of these visions and flashbacks in the game.
Hands will know my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Now I see deep in me insanity does unfold. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
São falas, né? São pessoas que representam, né, as alucinações e ilusões que elas têm. Eles tentaram reproduzir. Interessante, cara. Muito bem, é um trabalho bem feito, de fato. Pô, essa cena aí eles representaram muito bem, da sensação de não ver nada, olha.
To refine our work, we continue to hold meetings with Recovery College East over the course of a year and a half, showing them what we had achieved so far and refining the in-game representations based on their feedback. With their help, flashbacks, visions and changes in perception were woven into the story and gameplay of Senua.
The students that are involved in this project are incredibly excited about being involved. They have described the experience as being important because it values their lived experience and shows that despite what we have been through, all of that experience becomes valid, that actually it's something that we should all be talking about.
The experiences described range from beautiful to frightening beyond comprehension. I heard of a girl who has to live with an angry voice screaming at her, slamming on her doors and walls 24 hours a day. I met someone who would often see hanging corpses in a room, so real that she would sometimes try to rescue them.
Exatamente,
the panic and fear
exatamente.
that comes with such visions is entirely understandable, and it can be a living horror for some.
Tem a ver com essas sensações, né? Não é uma coisa só de um sussurro, uma coisa não, são sensações que você vai sentindo no corpo. Você sente o cheiro, tem a visão, sente na boca, sente tudo, entendeu? É foda, cara.
Had we gone too far with our representations or not far enough?
Broken and lost. Just like your soul.
Come on.
In some ways, voice hearing and visions were the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. There's another aspect of psychosis that is much harder to explain, but one that I think video games are uniquely able to represent, which are often called delusions.
People begin to see patterns in the world. They begin to link things that most people wouldn't link. Most of the things that we might think would be coincidence or, not worth commenting on. Nevertheless, that might have a particular salience or importance for them.
One individual described how everyday words, sounds, colours and objects were steeped in meaning to him, forming a strange and sinister puzzle that he was determined to solve but could not quite get to the bottom of.
It's not just brain dysfunction. It's not like the system shut down. It's actually an incredibly creative process. The person creates a world populated with voices and phantasms and terrors, and they're completely immersed in it. They believe in it.
We often invite people into the studio to play the game. In one of our playtests, they played through much of the game, making associations between runes, secret messages, and the threat of darkness that stalked them. There are many things that happen in the world of Hellblade that make perfect sense within the context of SENUA'S mind. The dark rot that's killing her slowly from within, the secret runes of the gods that block her path to Helheim, and strange associations that exist in the game to confuse you. To complete SENUA'S quest, you have to internalize and accept the logic and meaning behind these things to progress. Afterwards they said that they didn't see much evidence of mental illness in the game. People with delusions of all sorts would argue the same thing, that they are not aware of their experience being abnormal in any way.
I need this sword. It's important.
Representing perception changes and thinking patterns within Hellblade gives us a set of symptoms common in psychosis. But people with lived experience were keen to emphasize another point, that it is wrong to define a person by their symptoms. Quite often, the illness comes not from the symptoms, but from the stigma, isolation and mistreatment that comes about from the rest of society.
They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
I needed someone to portray Senua, someone who could believably internalize her suffering. Melina Jurgens, our video editor, had been a stand-in for Senua over a few months while we perfected our motion capture techniques. Without realizing it, she had already auditioned for the role, and I knew her well enough to know that I didn't have to teach her to act, but to relive her own internal pain. As often is the case, those who have suffered mental anguish are never far from us. My hope is that by creating a compelling and aspirational character in Senua who feels very much real, albeit in a fantasy setting, we can provide a lens into her reality, a different one to yours, and this is where storytelling comes into play. I imagined her life based on common threads in real people's lives. She was always prone to psychosis as a child. Her mother Galina also heard voices and had visions, so perhaps there was a genetic aspect. Or perhaps it was cultural, as she lived within a world without science, of gods and superstition, as exemplified by her druid father Zimbal. Psychosis developed in her late teens to early 20s and was exasperated by stigma and isolation at the hands of the clansmen and her father.
This darkness. It's spreading.
The trauma of seeing her lover Dilion sacrificed tips her over the edge, making her remodel her reality around a concept that connects everything: the darkness. So the question is, what Senua experiences real? It can only be answered by saying, yes, it is real. It is her reality.
All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
Towards the end of the project, service users and professionals that had collaborated with us were invited to see the near-final game. It was a chance to see if the game had reflected their views or if it had misrepresented them.
For me, being involved in especially developing Senua's character has been really important, and being able to bring in my perspective and what I see and what I hear and having that built into the game has been a real privilege. It's gritty and it's meaty, and there are some tough subjects in there that are being tackled with honesty.
Guardados com honestidade, muito legal mesmo, assim.
I was blown away by it today, absolutely blown away. It was just fantastic to get the opportunity to use our lived experience in a very creative way. There's nothing tokenistic about the work we've put in. It feels like we've been listened to, things have been taken on board, and I think there was a lot of realism in the game itself, and it feels very authentic.
Hellblade will give people a good experience of what it's like to hear voices and have those experiences. I'm glad that the guys at Ninja Theory have asked us to come along and help them build an experience that's positive when it comes out, and get myself a copy and have a go.
Que legal, gente, legal. Fizeram muito bem, tá muito bem feito mesmo. Achei muito interessante eles terem colocado o documentário também, eu acho que isso aí é essencial.
In a way that I think I didn't imagine was possible, so wonderful, really wonderful.
Isso é essencial para você entender o contexto, o que eles realmente estavam querendo passar. Muito bem, muito bem.
Follow the lead they've set and use the power of something like a video game to change people's perceptions, to increase understanding, and ultimately to make some of the stigma around voice hearing and other experiences go away.
For me, it was really exciting to see something that I explore scientifically being represented so beautifully in a character who's trying to penetrate the mysteries of the environment in which they've been placed, with all of this strange uncertainty and noise and conflicting information that they're getting. I'm very excited by this way of trying to represent mental illness, because I think it actually might be offering us insights that we wouldn't get from pure scientific explorations, and actually giving us quite an empathic view of what it might be like.
Mental illness has been with us for as long as we have been on this planet, but why? Why hasn't evolution stamped out this weakness from within our gene pool? I often pondered this question until I realized that the question had an inbuilt flaw. It assumes that being and thinking differently is a weakness. The only reason we have computers, spacecraft, medicine, poetry, art, and yes, even video games is because individuals are able to simulate new abstract realities in their minds and share them with the rest of us. We need people to be willing to see differently in order for us to progress and survive as society. And we need to be open to these new ways of seeing. And it is this spirit that motivated me to create SENUA'S story and share it with you.
Muito bom, muito bom. Gente, é isso, ó. Se você se você gostou e está procurando mais saber sobre as dificuldades mentais, visite o site Hellblade Helps Info. Muito bom, muito bom. Gente, muito obrigado, tá, pela live de hoje. Foi muito bom a gente poder finalizar o jogo. Quero agradecer a presença de todo mundo, o Edson, né, a Aline que esteve aí mais cedo, todo mundo mesmo. Que jogo sensacional, né? Uma pena que eu acho que eu não consegui jogar ele. Talvez não, a não ser que eu jogue por nuvem, né? Talvez seja isso a saída. Mas assim, o jogo é incrível mesmo. Incrível, sensacional. Tá? Vou estar finalizando a live por aqui. Eu vou ver que jogo eu vou jogar domingo que vem. Né? Provavelmente eu vou fazer um vídeo durante a semana, talvez, não sei. Mas muito obrigado a todo mundo que esteve por aí. Um abração mesmo. E muito obrigado por ter acompanhado essa jornada, né? A jornada das SENUA'S, né? Pensar um pouco sobre essa questão da saúde mental. Um abraço, tá? Tchau, Edson. Tchau a todo mundo aí. E não esqueça, gente, de deixar o like no final do vídeo, você que estiver acompanhando depois. Isso aí é importante, O canal é pequenininho, ver se a gente chega aí a 1000 inscritos até o ano que vem, quem sabe. Valeu, gente. Tchau, tchau, Edson. Valeu, Babbitt.